Next up, it is Oklahoma State and Kansas State. So we go to the Big 12. Kansas State, 6-point home favorites, 55-56 the total here in this one. Kansas State coming off just a crazy loss to BYU because they looked like early in the game they were in complete control. And then all of a sudden, there's just this one big scoring play after another. Turnovers became an issue with Avery Johnson in Kansas State. The craziest punt return touchdown you'll see where Kingston, the punt returner for BYU, actually fumbles the return, picks it up down by his own goal line, somehow gets to the edge, and then ends up taking it all the way back for an incredible punt return touchdown. Plays like that were going against Kansas State in that game. And then once that momentum was rolling and the crowd was going nuts in Provo, there was no slowing it down. So it's definitely a Kansas State team that's going to be looking to bounce back here, taking on Oklahoma State. And you got to be concerned about this spot for Oklahoma State. A lot was put into that Utah game. They got the chance to play a Utah team without Cam Rising, a chance to, take advantage of that maybe and win that game, and they just couldn't do it. And here's the problem now. Eventually there was going to be a game where if Ollie Gordon gets shut down and Utah, and there's been a problem all year for Oklahoma State, Ollie Gordon has not been that take over the game running back that we expected from him coming into this season. So I look at this here when it comes to Ollie Gordon for the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Eventually, he's going to have to get it going because if you start to face some of these better teams like Utah, and I know Kansas State's been shaky at times defensively, but they're still a very capable team. If you continue to get completely shut down in the run game, eventually Alan Bowman's going to face some better teams, and he's not going to always be able to lead the team through the air. And we saw that against Utah. There was no run game, and then Alan Bowman and the passing attack was one-dimensional against Utah, and he struggled. Less than 50% completions, a couple of costly interceptions. It got so bad in the eyes of Mike Gundy that he actually benched Bowman in the second half and went to Garrett Rangel at the quarterback spot for Oklahoma State. So I don't know if I agree with that move, though, from Gundy. I get it. Bowman was struggling in the first half of that game, but it was still pretty close. And then he wasted some time there with Garrett Rangel in the third quarter. And eventually he did go back to Bowman in the fourth quarter, but I didn't love the timing of making the quarterback change when that game was still pretty close for the most part. And then Bowman finally got things going. By then it was too little too late. And they end up falling short in that loss to the Utah Utes on the weekend. So disappointing, to see if Oklahoma State falls short. It was set up well for them. They had a pretty good track record under Mike Gundy against ranked teams at home. They got the ability to face Utah without Cam Rising, and yet they still are in a situation where they couldn't get the job done at home. Now you got to try to turn the page, bounce back here against Kansas State. Kansas State off a loss that's going to have them very, very pissed off and angry. They've taken money 5-6. Now Kansas State is home favorites. But again, it's Gundy as an underdog. I don't like betting against Mike Gundy and Oklahoma State as an underdog. I don't. Doesn't mean I'm going to be on them, but I'm definitely not betting against them as an underdog. And I've seen enough issues with Kansas State's defense and the continuing issues with Avery Johnson's ball security or lack thereof to question whether I'm ready to lay 6 points with Kansas State in this spot. So for me, I'm not involved in this game as of right now. Probably may not be when it comes to by the time this game kicks off on Saturday. I might get to there with Oklahoma State if I see 7 or better. 6, I'll lean that way. Don't know if I'll bet it, but I lean Oklahoma. I just don't go against Mike Gundy as a sizable underdog. To me, it's just not wise to do that. He's been very good in this role over the years. The only question is going to be, can this team get themselves if you're Oklahoma State, this is a wide open Big 12 still. There's no reason to just push the panic button or get defeated, have a defeatist attitude because of one loss. You got to get back in the saddle, go on the road here in the Little Apple, and give it your best shot. There's still a lot of season left. You just can't let one loss linger like this. And I think it's going to be a situation where I'm not ready to count Oklahoma State out just yet. Yeah, good point, G. Martinez. Wake up, C-Mac. It's not him waking up. We need his power to get going. That's what we're waiting on here, C-Mac's power. There we go. Okay, it looks like he will be joining us here in a few moments. So I'll just let him know that we're still going. It looks like C-Mac is going to be on his way. Yeah. There we go. All right. Good stuff. Looks like C-Mac just got his power back. He will be with us here any moment here on the Hitting the Book show. All right, let's continue along here.